I think that you're right. That I've perhaps talked more about, religion helping us see some of the limits of science, but I haven't really talked about the other side of the argument. I think that's a very important point. I mean, I think Christianity is great, but it doesn't tell me the age of the universe. It doesn't tell me how far away the moon is. I mean, there are some Christians who think it does tell you the age of the universe, but it involves some highly questionable mathematics, and also a very highly questionable reading of the Bible, which in effect seems to think that if you just add up all the times mentioned and assume there are no gaps anywhere in the record, then that gives you the age of the earth. And I think that one of the things we could say is that perhaps science gives you an expansion of the framework which Christianity gives you. And I think that's a perfectly reasonable way of looking at it. I mean, for example, Christianity gives you this vision. You find in Psalm 8 of a very big universe. There's a God, and we are very, very small, but science actually helps you to grasp just how big that universe is, if you like. Or to go to Psalm 19:1, which is, the heavens declare the glory of the Lord. You could say that a detailed knowledge of contemporary astronomy really gives you such a wonderful vision of those heavens that actually it amplifies and enriches your vision of God. I think it's the conflict area that's most interesting. I think we'll talk about that just a little bit before we move on to the next question. I think that there are points where science and Christianity have come into conflict. Let me give you one example, which is the Copernican debates of the 16th century, where you did find some Christians, in effect, saying, look, Copernicus can't be right, can he? Because the Bible tells us that the sun goes round the earth. And I think that the consensus that began to emerge was something like this. We have got so used to reading the Bible in the light of the assumption that the sun goes round the earth, that we have automatically interpreted passages in the Bible as reinforcing that way of thinking. In other words, it in effect is very much a sort of a way of reading the Bible that has emerged from immersion in a certain set of assumptions. And if you think of John Calvin's idea of accommodation, you can see how that begins to play into that narrative. So I think that there are areas there where, in effect, there can be a critical but, I think, constructive conversation.